Hey, Sabani. I hope you're doing okay. All right, I'm in Aries, and the weekly report. It's not really a report, it's just numbers. Um, so it is in the reports. So you're going to need to be in reports up here at the filter. It's going to be the attendance. Oops, I don't know why that's, there we go. Let me go to my favorites. Yeah, average. Sorry, it's average daily attendance summary. When you get here, you're going to want to change the dates to the previous week. So that would have been January 12th to the 16th print. I don't typically print these off, so you really could just, we could just download it if you wanted to. View report. So right now we're at 79.81%. So there were 320 students enrolled last week, 255 on average each day produced work, did some work production, and then so that left us with a 79.81 average. I do want to tell you that that's not correct. It may change just because Riju has not entered her attendance yet for last week. She might be absent today. She might be out with union business. All right, so that's the weekly. Excuse me. So in the weekly, sometimes they want to know how many are enrolled that week, who were, how many were attending, and then what the percentage was. So the other one, and by the way, you can make that your favorite, and then it's over here in the favorites. Then the next one that I go to are attendance percentages by teacher. And this is on a weekly basis, and I'm only going to get the absences and the attendance of the cues. I'm going to do it by period, first period. Again, this is going to be in reports. It's the attendance percentages by teacher. And so I'm going to select the teachers that I want to take a look at. And I grab this percentage and then document it to share with them later at the beginning of the following month. Because sometimes, out of the 3 weeks, they have 1 week, or out of the 4 weeks, they have a week that's just not that great. So, oh, and you know what I didn't do? I did not set the dates. You have to do that with this one as well. You can also do a monthly one, but I like to do the weekly, dig down a little deeper so that they actually can see, oh, I did okay 2 or 3 weeks out of the month. It was just 1 or 2 weeks that were, I had low attendance, and maybe it was that they weren't there, or that sometimes happens. They have doctor's appointments and students kind of fall off a little bit. All right, so this is last week. Here's Annie. She's at 82.78%. That's about right for her. Kevin, 78.29. Great. You want him 70% or above. Lewis, 80. This is great. Lewis is never at this percentage rate. So another thing I like to do is call him out on it and say, hey, great job, everyone. And then I'll give him a little individual email and say, that they raised it up to the 80% or whatever. Give him some kudos. Mary, this is about average for Mary. She tries to get to 70, but it not always there. And there's another reason for that sometimes with Mary and Lewis as well. Pamela, she's a little low. So again, this might be that she is not, just like with Randy, she's not quite taking attendance and capturing everything, which was what I was trying to go over with her at the very beginning of last month, and that did not go over well. So I would approach it, but approach it, with caution. And then here's Raj. Raj is always high, so she's one of our highest. Her students just love coming in and they work for her. Randy, again, 60%. This is probably incorrect. He has not taken correct attendance for the 18 months. About what? No, not 18 months. It's been a year and a couple of months. He does not look at the individual in Edgenuity. There's an individual attendance log. You really need to look at that log to get the full picture of the attendance and not just the class log, which I think he was doing. And I've been spending almost the year teaching him how to not do it that way. And I can go over that with you if you want me to as well. There's Rijus again. She hasn't taken her attendance for last week. And then here's Char's. I am a little concerned about this. This is unrealistically high. So I'm wondering what's going on. And if she is, how is she getting this? Like, what is the consensus of the students in how she's approaching them on doing work each day? Okay. Excuse me. So that's the percentages. And what I will do with those is I grab these percentages, right, for each week. And then what I will do is I will print out the class roster, and I'll put them at the bottom of the class roster. So I'll usually have 4 different percentages for each of the weeks. I'm going to go back to month 6 because month 6 has not been reviewed with them yet. That was the month I was going to be reviewing with them before I left. And there's a lot of... Oh, what happened? Oh my goodness. Here. There we go. All right. Run the report. And no, there's no easier way to do this. It's Aries, and so, I wish I could just tell it, hey, get me this report, but it's not the case. So here's Annie, and this is what I'm talking about. Annie did not take attendance on the 19th at all. So we need that attendance. Down here at the bottom are where I would write in the weekly percentages that they each had down here. And see, Annie's kind of notorious for this, so she will miss a few students on taking attendance. So here's one as well here. Here's one here. So this is what I go over with them. There's 4 weeks, so this is month 6, which was December. When I'm reviewing the monthly attendance with them, that's what this is. I am looking for students that have 3 or more N's, and I ask them questions about those students, like the week prior to going out on break. Now, I don't know what the Friday was, right? But that student did have 3 N's because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they were absent. So I'm going to ask the teacher and the navigator. So I make a copy of this for myself, the teacher, and the navigator. Sometimes a para as well, but most of the time it's just the navigator and the teacher. Then I'm just asking them, okay, where are we at with Hernandez, student 11? Where are we at with student 11? And they'll give me what's going on the back side of this printed monthly attendance sheet. I will write that in, and I'll use that because I keep these. I use that on the next month, and if this student's attendance has turned around, great. But if it hasn't, I'll use it to ask them, okay, we do need to consider withdrawing. Here's a student here, had quite an awful lot of absences the 2 weeks prior. So this is Rodriguez. And so I'll do that for each teacher. And it does take about 20 minutes to 30 for each of these. And I meet individually. I have met with them as a team before, but they don't really like to do that. So they only like to meet individually. All right, let's go to month 7. And that student was Rodriguez. Let's take a look and see what Rodriguez, how they're doing now. That was on Annie's, I think. Okay. That was student 11, right? Rodriguez. Let me look back here. Annie's. Yeah, it was Rodriguez. It was Andrade. Rodriguez Andrade. Okay. Rodriguez Andrade. Ah, see, they turned it around. However, last week, so they're on a roller coaster. These types of students that are, they don't really, they'll perform. My goodness, what's going on? I'm sorry, I'm on my Mac. There we go. So with Rodriguez Andrade, they'll perform 1 week and think that they've got the teacher off their back, and then they go back to doing the same thing. Now the teachers know which students these are. And what I like to do is I like to look at it over time, either the 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then I say, okay, they're not producing more than I think it's 60, 20, 40, yeah, 60%. They have to produce a minimum of 60% for us to keep them. And so because they are not, we can have a good talk with them and actually withdraw. And I know Annie has done that in the past. So that's why this is important. Again, down here, I'll put each of the weeks percentages. So we are now in week 4. So the first week was that. The first week, the last few days of December, we were on break. So we've got one more week. So 23rd. So the last week in January, you actually can go visit them, or you can wait until the first week in February. I'm going to go down here to Randy's. It's Pamela's, Raj, Randy. So see, Randy's got a lot of students with just mostly not attending. This is a new student, really hasn't attended. And if there are students that are coming back to us, so see this student, Medina. This student should have been withdrawn by now, if I remember correctly. It's Medina. Medina. Yeah. You can see. Mostly over the past 5 weeks, doesn't attend. And I would almost be willing to wage some money that I've asked him to withdraw her in the past. So a lot of his students. The other thing is sometimes he's not giving them correct attendance. So because he's not, it makes it more difficult. I usually spend a couple of hours with him every month, maybe 3, reviewing that. All right. Enrollment by counselor. I think I went over this one. Maybe I didn't. This is the one that will tell you how many students are actually enrolled in each of the classes. Right? So enrollment by counselor. Counselor is teacher. So right now we're pretty full. Tara has, 5 seats open, but everybody else has only maybe 1 or none, maybe 2. Looks like 38, 38, 38. Yeah, we've only got 1 seat open with Raj. And then I'm sad. Monique is amazing. She's keeping up with all of it. She's fantastic. Okay, if you have any questions, I know that was a lot of information, let me know. I'll talk to you later. Bye.